Buen día a todos nosotros. Hi, I'm Mark Eldin, and in this video, I am going to discuss to you the Spanish language.
The Spanish language. What is the Spanish language? Spanish language is a Romance language of the Indo-European language family that evolved from colloquial Latin spoken in the Iberian Peninsula of Europe. The Spanish alphabet is called abecedario or alfabeto. It consists of 29 letters, which is 24 consonants and 5 vowels. The Spanish alphabet has 27 letters and is the same as the English alphabet with the addition of ñ. Spanish often uses diacritical marks over vowels, but a marked vowel is not considered a separate letter as the ñ is. Until the alphabet reform of 2010, che and lie used to be classified as separate letters. Here is the Spanish alphabet, or the Alfabeto Español. The first thing I'm going to discuss is the sounds of the Spanish language. Here is the Spanish phonetic consonant chart and the Spanish phonetic vowel chart. After moving to the next topic, here is the Spanish alphabet sounds.
A. Amigo. B. Beso. C. Casa. Che. Chica. D. Dedo. E. Escoba. F. Flor. G. Guante. H. Helado. I. Isla. J. Jugo. K. Kiwi. L. Libro. Ella. Lluvia. M. Mesa. N. Nariz. Ñ. Niño. O. Hola. P. Pan. Q. Queso. R. Ropa. S. Silla. T. Taza. U. Uva. V. Ventana. W. Windsurf. X. Xilófono. Y. Yoyo. Z. Zapato. A. B, C, Ch, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, L, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
The second thing I'm going to discuss to you is the sound pattern of the Spanish language. In the Spanish word sopa, soup, we recognize four distinct sounds or phonemes. S-O-P-A, or consonant vowel, consonant vowel. These are the same sounds that, in different orders, are used to produce the words paso, step, and sapo, toad. It is important to realize that these sounds do not possess any meaning in themselves. The Spanish word sopa means soup, but the sound S does not mean anything. Although sopa, paso, and sapo all use the same four sounds of the Spanish language, they do not share any feature of meaning. The third thing I'm going to discuss is the lexical categories of the Spanish language. The first lexical category of the Spanish language is the noun. Noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. The English word noun and its Spanish equivalent un nombre both come from the Latin word nomen, meaning name. Noun can be the subject of a verb, the object of a verb, or the object of a preposition. Here are some of the examples. In addition, Spanish has gender. In Spanish, all nouns have gender. They are either masculine or feminine. Here are some of the examples. The singular articles un and una indicate the gender of the above nouns. Un hombre, un coche, un camión are masculine, while una mujer and una idea are feminine. We can say that a noun ending in o is generally masculine, and a noun ending in a is generally feminine. Also, the gender of the noun affects adjectives as well as pronouns, so it's essential to know the gender of every Spanish noun. Next, the Spanish nouns also have numbers. They are either singular or plural. Here are some of the examples. The S at the end of the globos and casas lets you know that these words are plural, while globo and casa are singular. If you notice the plural of camiones, where S is added, that tells you that when the singular of a noun ends in a consonant like camion, to form the plural, you need to add ES. The second lexical category is the pronoun. Pronoun, a word or phrase that replaces or represents nouns in order to avoid repetition. Also, Spanish pronouns has 10 types. The subject pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, verbal object pronouns, reflexive pronouns, prepositional object pronouns, prepositional reflective pronouns, possessive pronouns, indefinite pronouns, relative pronouns, and interrogative pronouns. The 10 types of pronoun. First is the subject pronouns. Subject pronouns replace the subject of a sentence. For the example, yo quiero salir, I want to leave. I or yo replaces the name of the person speaking. Second is the verbal object pronouns. Verbal object pronouns functions as the object of the verb. For example, lo no puedo ver, I can't see it. Lo or it replaces the name of the unseen object. The third type of pronoun is the demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronouns replace a noun while also pointing to it. For example, quiero esta, or I want this. Esta or this replaces the name of the object the speaker is referring to. The next one is the reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are used when the direct object and the subject of a verb refer to the same person or thing. For example, Juan se baña. John is bathing himself. John is the subject of the sentence and he is performing the action of the verb on himself. The fifth type of pronoun is the prepositional object pronouns. Prepositional object pronouns are used as objects of a preposition. For example, Raúl lo compró para nosotros. Raúl bought it for us. Nosotros and us are the objects of the prepositions para and for, respectively. And the sixth type of pronoun is the indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns refers to non-specific people or things. For example, nadie puede decir que su vida es perfecta. Nobody can say his life is perfect. The next type of pronoun is the prepositional reflexive pronouns. It is used when the object of a preposition following a verb refers back to the verb's subject. For example, Maria lo compró para sí mismo. Maria bought it for herself. Sí and herself are the objects of para and for, respectively, and refer to back to Maria, the sentence's subject. The next is the possessive pronouns. It refers to something owned or possessed by someone or something. For example, la mía es verde. Mine is green. Mía and mine refer to the object possessed. The feminine form in Spanish is used here because it refers to an object name that is feminine. The possessive pronouns in Spanish are usually preceded by el, la, los, or las, especially when they are subjects. The next type of pronoun is the relative pronouns. Relative pronouns introduces a clause that gives more information about a noun or pronoun. For example, nadie puede decir que su vida es perfecta. Nobody can say that his life is perfect. The relative pronouns here are que and that. The clause su vida es perfecta gives more information about nadie. And for the 10th type of pronoun is the interrogative pronouns. It is used in questions. For example, ¿Cuál es tu problema? What is your problem? Third lexical category of Spanish language is the verb. Verb is a part of speech that expresses an action, a state of being, or an occurrence. Verbs in Spanish are typically classified by their conjugations. They are divided into verb conjugation groups. Here are the examples of the Spanish verbs. Spanish verb has tense. Spanish verb conjugations are organized by whether the action of the verb occurs in the past, present, or future. Past tense or el pretérito refers to past time actions. Spanish verb forms in the indicative mood. For example, los barcos están muy lejos de la costa. The boats are too far from the coast. Next is the present tense or el presente. It refers to the present time. Spanish present tense is included under the moods indicativo and subjuntivo. For example, estoy conduciendo. I am driving. The last is the future tense or el futuro. It refers to the future time. Spanish future tense is included within the indicativo and subjuntivo moods. For example, Sara vendrá a mi fiesta mañana. Sarah will come to my party tomorrow. In the Spanish language, there are different types of verbs that can be classified in different ways. Number 1 is the infinitive verbs. It is the basic form which verbs are found, that is, without conjugation. In Spanish, verbs in the infinitive are equivalent to verbs preceded by the participle to in English. The second one is the regular verbs. Spanish verbs are regular and can be conjugated according to the models of verbs ending in r, and ir. The third one is the irregular verbs. These verbs do not follow a pre-established pattern for their conjugation, but their root and ending can change indistinctly depending on their mood, tense, and number. The fourth one is the transitive verbs. These require an object to have full meaning. The fifth one is the intransitive verbs. Unlike transitive verbs, these verbs do not require an object. The sixth one is the reflexive verbs. In these verbs, the object is the same person or thing that performs the action. The seventh one is the reciprocal verbs. They are reflexive verbs that indicate that two or more subjects interact with each other. The eighth one is the linking verbs. They are reflexive verbs that do not refer to actions, but are used to express states, conditions, and characteristics. They are usually accompanied by nouns, adjectives, or other types of constructions. For the ninth one is the personal verbs. They are the verbs that can be conjugated in all the persons of Spanish language. The 10th one is the impersonal verbs, or propios. These are verbs that cannot be conjugated in all persons and are only conjugated in the third person singular. These verbs do not agree in person and number with the subject. They are in the sentences in which there is no subject that performs an action. The 11th one is the impersonal verbs, or impropios. They are the verbs that can be conjugated in all persons, but they can also function as impersonal verbs because They appear in contexts in which there is no subject, and therefore they are conjugated in the third person singular. And the last type of verb is the auxiliary verbs. These are used alongside another verb to give it a full meaning, generally used to form compound tenses and the passive voice. Spanish verb has also parts. It consists of two parts, the stem and the ending. Together, the stem and the ending are referred to as the infinitive. When conjugating a verb, the stem will remain while the ending will change. In Spanish, there are three endings, the ar, er, and ir. Also, Spanish verb has voice. It is a grammatical term that describes the relationship between a subject and a verb. There are two main voices of verb. The first one is the active voice. The active voice is the most common. It indicates that the subject of the verb performs that action. The second one is the passive voice. In the passive voice, the subject of the verb undergoes the action being performed. In addition, there is a tendency to use an alternative which is called the reflexive passive, in which the invariable reflexive pronoun se is placed in front of the conjugated main verb. The fourth lexical category of the Spanish language is the adverb. Adverb is a word that modifies or describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Also, Spanish adverbs has 9 types. The first one is the adverbs of place, or locative adverbs. It expresses a locative relationship, which means they describe a location, place, or address. They answer the question where to, or where from. The second one is the adverbs of time, or temporal adverbs. Reference time, duration, and frequency. They answer the questions when, how long, and how often. The third one is the adverbs of amount or degree. It modifies adjectives. They answer questions how much or how many, and they can be A. Indefinite, B. Express degree, C. End in mente, and D. Act as adverbs to express evaluation. The fourth one is the adverbs of manner, or modal adverbs. It answers the questions how and in which way. The fifth one is the interrogative adverbs. It used as question words. The sixth one is the adverbs of affirmation. It is used to strengthen a statement. The seventh one is the adverbs of negation. It negates statement in negative statements. The eighth one is the adverbs of doubt. These adverbs cast doubt or uncertainty on an action. And the last type of adverb is the relative adverbs. Relative adverbs link relative clauses to main clauses. A. Cuanto, used in formal contexts. B. Donde, relative clauses that give information about place. C. Como, express information about the way or manner in which something is done. And D. Cuando, relative clauses that refers to time. The fifth lexical category of the Spanish language is the conjunctions. Conjunctions are the connecting part of speech. They link words, phrases, and clauses into more complex, related structures. Also, Spanish conjunctions has two types. The first one is the coordinating conjunctions. It links two equal words or clauses. The second one is the subordinating conjunctions. It links a dependent clause to a main clause. The two clauses are unequal. The sixth lexical category of the Spanish language is the adjective. Adjectives are a particular type of modifier that describes nouns. Colors, shapes, and sizes are all adjectives. Also, in adjective, there are 3 degrees. The first one is the positive degree. The positive degree of an adjective or adverb offers no comparison. The second one is the comparative degree. A comparative adjective is an adjective used to compare two people or things. We use comparative adjectives to say that one person or thing demonstrates a high degree of a quality or a better example of a quality than the other. The third one is the superlative degree. Superlative in Spanish are adjectives that you'll use to compare 3 or more things where one is the most or the least in certain characteristics. The seventh lexical category I'm going to discuss is the preposition. Preposition is a word or phrase that expresses the relationship in time or space between two things. Prepositions are commonly used between two nouns, a verb and a noun, or two verbs. Also, there are 3 types of preposition. The first one is the prepositions of location. The second one is the prepositions of relation. And the third type of preposition is the prepositions of time. And the 8th lexical category of the Spanish language is the modals. The Spanish language commonly uses 8 modals. The first one is the saber. Saber translates to English as know or can, and you'll use it to talk about somebody's knowledge or ability. The second one is the querer. Querer is the equivalent of English want to, and you use it to express a desire or its lack. The third one is the poder. Poder is another of the modal verbs in Spanish that you can use to talk about ability, similar to saber, but you also use it to talk about possibility and permission. It can be translated to can or be able to. The fourth one is the deber. If you want to express moral or legal obligation, you'll use deber in Spanish and you translate it with have to, must, or should. The next one is the soler. Soler means to do something normally, or tend to, or be accustomed. It's an expression you use to talk about habits. The next one is the tener que. Tener que is even stronger than deber, and you'll use it to express obligation and necessity. You translate it with have to or must, but it conveys a sense of external obligation rather than internal. The next one is the haber que. Haber que is an impersonal verb meaning you can only use in the third person singular. It expresses necessity and obligation but without naming a specific person. The next one is the haber de. If you add de to the adverb haber, it will also express obligation and you can use it with all grammatic persons. However, it's not that common in modern speech. You'll rather use deber or tener que. The ninth lexical category of the Spanish language is the auxiliaries. In Spanish, first, auxiliary is with past participle. Second, auxiliary is with gerunds. And the third one, auxiliary is with infinitives. The 10th lexical category of the Spanish language is the determiners. Determiners determines the meaning of a noun by expressing such concepts as quantity or definiteness. Below are some examples of Spanish determiners. And the last lexical categories of Spanish language that I'm going to discuss is the quantifiers. Quantifiers or intensifiers are adverbs of quantity or degree. They tell us how much or to what extent something is happening. Indicated below the sum of examples of Spanish quantifiers. The fourth and the last thing I'm going to discuss in this video is the phrase structure rules or the PSRs of the Spanish language. The first PSR I'm going to discuss is the word order. Like the English language, Spanish is classified as a mostly SVO or subject-verb-object language because of its commonly used word order. For example, Juanita lee el libro. Juanita reads the book. Juanita is the subject, lee or reads is the verb, and el libro, the book, is the object of the verb. The second PSR of the Spanish language is the syntactic categories. Syntactic categories of the Spanish language is divided into four. The first one is the noun phrase or NP. It can be defined as a noun together with any adjacent determiners, adjectives, or prepositional phrases. The second one is the prepositional phrase or PP. Normally comprises a preposition in the following noun or MP or some item functioning. The third one is the adjectival phrase or AP. It is made up of an adjective and any adjacent adverbs or PPs. The fourth one is the verb phrase or VP. Consists typically of a verb together with an associated NPs, excluding the NP that supplies the verb subject. PPs, or adverbs.
That's all for this video presentation. I hope that you guys learned something new about the Spanish language. Thank you for watching. Bye!